Depression is one of the most pervasive and misunderstood conditions of our time. It doesn't announce itself dramatically, nor does it often fit into the stereotypical image of someone crying endlessly in a dark room. Instead, depression is insidious, quiet, and profoundly isolating. It's a feeling of emptiness that seeps into the cracks of everyday life, stealing joy from things that once felt meaningful. Imagine waking up each day to a world that feels muffled, as if a heavy fog has settled over everything. Tasks that were once simple, like making coffee or brushing your teeth, become monumental efforts. The act of getting out of bed feels less like a start to the day and more like climbing a mountain. Depression isn't just sadness, it's a void, a detachment from the world and from oneself. It can manifest differently in everyone. For some, it looks like endless fatigue, sleeping too much or too little, yet never feeling rested. For others, it's a constant barrage of negative thoughts, a relentless inner critic reminding them of their perceived failures. And for some, it's a loss of interest in everything: hobbies, relationships, even life itself. Depression can steal your ability to connect with the things you love, leaving you stranded in a hollow existence. But depression is also deceptive. It tells you lies, convincing you that you're alone, that no one could possibly understand, and that things will never get better. It magnifies small setbacks into insurmountable failures and minimizes achievements to meaninglessness. It's not just an illness of the mind. It seeps into the body, making you ache, slowing you down, and creating a physical weight that feels impossible to bear. One of the hardest parts of depression is the stigma. Society often expects people to snap out of it or think positive, as though depression is simply a bad mood or a choice. The misunderstanding leaves many sufferers feeling ashamed or weak for struggling. They may hide their pain behind forced smiles or silence, further deepening their isolation. Depression becomes a cycle, one fueled by the illness itself and by the world's inability to fully see it for what it is. Despite its darkness, depression doesn't have to be a permanent state. Treatment exists, and for many it works. Therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, and social support can all play a role in recovery. But the road to feeling better isn't linear, and it requires patience, both from the individual and from those around them. Healing from depression isn't about snapping out of it, but about finding small moments of light in the darkness and slowly rebuilding a sense of self and purpose. Understanding depression begins with listening, with creating a space for those who struggle to share their experiences without judgment. It's about recognizing that depression is not a personal failing, but a complex condition shaped by biology, environment, and individual circumstances. And it's about extending compassion, not only to others, but also to ourselves. In a world that often demands perfection, we must remember that it's okay to not be okay, and that reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness, but an act of courage.